to all the members of the portfolio committee. Committee members, self-chairperson, we've got Honorable Zuma, Honorable Hinana, Honorable Mkondo, Honorable Jenner, Honorable Vedrem, Honorable Kado. Am I audible, Chair?
Yes, we can
Am
hear
I
you.
audible? Thank you, Honorable Minister. And then, Chair, we have an apology from Honorable Nobo, we've got that's it from the committee chair. Thank you. Uchair ngathi uphuncukile. Chair. Let's give her a few minutes. Maybe she's going to join again.
Thank you. Sorry for that. Thank you, Mr. Sakaza. Can we, from the department, who's going to take us through the roll call of the department?
DG.
Oh, welcome, Minister. Welcome, Minister. Welcome, Minister. DG and your deputy. What did you call? Welcome.
Thank you, Chair. UTG is muted.
Good morning, Chair, and the honorable members, Minister, Deputy Minister, and the colleagues on the platform. From the department, we have the DDG responsible for public information service. We have the COO, Ms. Mash Broncos, who's going to take us through the presentation. We have the CF.
No, we've lost the DG.
Can somebody come in whilst the DG is affected by network?
Muted everyone, Chair. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We have Ms. Joni Modiba, the COO of the Compensation Fund. We have Ms. Jotana Achari from the Compensation Fund. We have Judith Kumbi from Chair, we have load shedding here, so you'll bear with me.
Okay.
The system kicks me out every now and then. But so we have Judith Kumbi from UIF. She's the COO there. We have Ms. Katleho Mutswiri from the Compensation Fund. We have Malibu Sivaga from the SCE. Ms. Margaret Mazibuko. She's wearing two hats today, I suppose. DDG, the acting DDG for corporate services. And we have Mr. Sipeto Siengo, who's the CDPO from Northwest. Ms. Nofundo Dojek from the Eastern Cape, CDPO. We have Advocate Lakim Konto, Legal Services UIF. And we have Mr. Tsepo Mokomatsi, the CDPO from Gauteng. We have Mr. Mziyawa from UIF. We have Ms. Fezaka Puzi from UIF as CFO. Mr. Paswane Tlati, who's the CDPO, acting CDPO on Limpopo. Zolile Albani, Northern Cape CDPO. Ms. Lindile Tungu from CF. Ms. Precious Mglogovane, CF, IT. The CEO of SCE, Mr. Sbusiso Pakati. The Communication Officer of the department, Mr. Tebo Tijani. And we have from the ministry, Mr. Kangala Mutumeta, Ms. Zotani Mdla, Mr. Sabelo Mali, and from my office we have Ms. Matapelo Matabuche. That's our delegation, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DJ. Thank you very much. I just want, there are two things that I would like before the minister comes in for just a brief political overview. There are two issues that I just want to reflect. One is just a reminder in welcoming everybody, and I've also forgotten that the year is new, was immediately the 1st of February. That year is old. Members will remember that when we last year, our last committee before we rise, we took a decision that in moving forward until the end of our term, we are going to invite provinces. So provincial heads are going to be, should I say, permanent members coming with the department. And the reason, Minister, that we took that decision is because offices are in provinces and are in districts. Yes, the DG and the DDG and the head office is to, at the end, in particular, the office of the DG is to the final accountability steps in terms of
recording in progress.
Stops in terms of administration with his office. And therefore, we, in particular, the office of the chair took that decision that, in fact, in moving forward, I think we have been, I don't want to say unfair to head office, not that head office is not to account, because if then there is a province that is not performing, that province must respond, must account. But if that province is continuously not performing, then the minister and the DG must tell us why should that head of the province still be, we must be given what is it that they have done to ensure that the situation changes. So from now on, head of provinces, they must know that they are part of the office of the ministry, representing on behalf of the department and on behalf of the provinces, because we don't have concurrent functions. There is no MEC of labor in the department. That's number one. Number two, members will maybe, I don't know whether they did come across that. As the chair, I came across an article that I thought it's an article that the accounting officer is to just make the chair of the portfolio committee to really have what is this? it's an article which was about UIF and investment that is going to take place with a number of allegations that are there, but at the bottom of it is that it's an investment that is then going to assist in creation of jobs. And in that article, there were names that were cited. I thought it's important that when we're here, at least just to maybe the minister will be able to say these are the processes that we are, because we can't call them to come in account on the basis of the allegations. Ours is to, in particular, the office of the chairperson is to say, what is this? We need a report. I need a report that you will then have to table in the. So I thought I must just highlight that, and we will hear then what then will be the response. We are in a very challenging time in terms of high rate of unemployment, in terms of a number of things. In the center is the issue of load shedding. We can't then say load shedding is only affecting it's an issue for ESCOM, but it affects all sectors, ourselves. It's affecting this portfolio committee, which is oversighting the department, because people are losing jobs. So as we are moving forward, I won't dictate to what political parties are to respond to, but what I think, among other things, that the chair will always be referring to is that at the end, as much as we've got our own political views and political mandates, both ideologically and otherwise, at the end, we have got the responsibility of assisting, of ensuring that workers of this country are, at least they deserve to be treated humanly by public and by both private. At an appropriate time, Minister, when we come to, I'll raise this concern that I am having around, maybe because it's the government is to govern the country, but it can't govern alone, both public and private. So at an appropriate time, we'll then have to see how then to ensure. Obviously, we know that there's an entity called NEDLEC. So when NEDLEC comes, we'll raise some of the issues. The last thing is that I think I'll have to apologize to members that we may have created a confusion, but we corrected that. Remember that UIF and Compensation Fund didn't table their finances. And then we then, in consultation, that they can then come and present their first quarter when they have not tabled. And therefore, what they are to do to us in front of us today is that they are to give us an update on the issues that were cited by the AG for 21-22, if I'm not mistaken. How far are they? But it's quite disturbing, Minister. I think I'll have to raise that up front. It is quite disturbing that two of your entities, should I say, they are dragging their feet. Maybe we'll be told at an appropriate time, whether it's about capacity, whether it's about whatever. We do understand that there are some challenges, in particular between the issue of UIF and PIC, which create a stampede for UIF to be able to table their finances on time. As much as they have sent a letter to the speaker and they were granted that, but it's not auguring well. It doesn't augur well to us as the committee that you will have two entities not tabling. Having said that, I will give you time to make an overview, a political overview on the issues. But members, I hope members are aware that we don't have a sitting today, so we are going to be here until 4 o'clock. I'm saying for now, it depends on you. Minister, if you're still around.
I'm here.
Okay, over to you for your brief political overview.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairperson, the Honorable Chairperson, of course, and the honorable members of the committee, the senior officials, our Deputy Minister, by the way, is, and the compensation fund. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we value these engagements with the portfolio asked to account and holding account. Once again, the official details, I just want to briefly reflect the fact that the overall of the targets for Q1 also is not achieved. Doesn't mean that it was 100% failure. 29 on the IAS target for inspection. It was 74,500 inspections. The target was deemed not to have been across the different branches of and that's very important, as well as and it's good that the areas overall performance is down on the 81% across the last 5 quarters. The performance report does give us a measure of actual impact in complying or non-compliant employers. Over 80 million was recovered. With regards to the amount of the red ink used in the presentation, as well as the frequently recurring phrase, but probably conclude that this requires to be transitory performance with said performance. Risk management clearly demonstrates that the current contextual ground for fraud and corruption. Again, the commitment to monitoring and evaluation of the remedial action needs to move rapidly into implementation. Assurance from the clear strategic focus in slide 6, customer service corruption. There is a 75% performance for quarter 1, largely concentrated in program targets for the time duration. Overall, slide 21, year on year after 2022-21 financial year. In regard to the US from the statement of the UIF priorities, slides, problems, members will want to know that these issues are actually being addressed, presentation combining the following: a plan to 9 to 12 and to track the measures taken, a focused COVID. Remember the sheer scale of this slowdown intervention, which is, their families, all of which was on a much larger scale. And in the room, a detailed plan statement. The second project to insource resources to the measures to address the AGSA findings on investment diligence in the process. A report, court cases, and recoveries of wrongly paid benefits, as the UIF and Dell had the foresight to put this program in corruption, which would take place. And the plan on implementation, all of which is underpinned addressing the underlying operations, processes, and systems. Now conceived to be the central objective of the fund, clean audit action plan. Through you, Chair, maybe we should congratulate. This is what the high level, you for the details, where the devil is said to address front and center, AGSA finding 2021, 83% of the plan. It's there on slide 5. The presentation also spells out current process to ensure implementation and control terms and consistently implement control measures which have been put. Before I end, you have raised an issue, Chairperson, or I'm asking, we are having an acting Mr. Mafata resigned. So you will listen now. But there's an issue which you the issue of what you saw in the Sunday Times. I must say that as the executive authority, when this matter was brought, the matter to be put on hold until thorough investigation provided a immediate response to that effect. And I can share that I felt that requested the DG, which he has provided, and the report which I'm still looking at. And because at this stage, I will not be able to talk to the portfolio committee members with an update on the matter once to date on the matter, including the issues of the processes for, I mean, any and so on, detailed report and a plan of action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much. We will. I just want to make and I must take a responsibility of that. You will see that there are two items which are top of the agenda, which in fact are issues of housekeeping. So I can't be unfair. In-house committee makers, I can't then be unfair and say, let's start with those one. I'm humbly proposing that we amend, we take them at the end when everybody has left, when we are dealing with our matters, which is minutes and the committee program. I am going to request Mr. Sakaza to put up the agenda so that everybody can see what is going to be our program for the day. Zolan, are you ready to do that? Zolan.
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair. I'm trying to get to. Just give me a second, Chair. I want to share it on the screen. The agenda where is now here.
As much as the office of the chair was that we were going to be here the whole day, but we are competing with load shedding. So the outstanding minutes and the draft reports, we are putting them at the end. Then we will then do the update by the UIF and the CF on the audit outcomes by the briefing by the department on its first quarter. Teacher, I don't know who's going to start, whether it's you or you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I would prefer that of the performance of
you are humbly request.
I humbly request. Thank you very much.
That was the election. Okay. All right. So it's
I'll ask the
UIF.
UIF commissioner to take us through, Chair.
Okay. UIF.
Morning, Chairperson and members and the Minister. I'm trying to show proof of life, but my video is not showing, Chair.
And your colleagues from the provinces, why don't you greet them?
Oh, my colleagues from the provinces, my apologies, Chair, and compliments of the new year. Chair, I'll just go straight to slide number 4. On slide number 4, Chair, what we are highlighting here is the 6 areas that keeps us awake at night as UI management. Among these is the negative report that we've picked up on unlisted investments, the delays in with follow the money, late submissions of annual financial statements, the liquidity of the fund, poor customer experience, and the image of the fund. I think as at December, by end of December, we would say in terms of the unlisted portfolio, there were fewer reports about the portfolio, but we continue to engage the PIC just to manage that environment much better. Amongst others was the issue of pay break, but we are continuing to engage them. We follow the money, Chair. I can confirm now that phase 2 of follow the money has started, and that's why we've changed the follow the money into green now. That we've appointed 7 audit firms, they're on the ground with over 250 auditors visiting companies. The latest submission of annual financial statement remains a concern. I believe we are on track to submit as planned by the 31st of March. With respect to the liquidity of the fund, I think generally, Chair, the fund remains solid. I think the Minister touched on it a bit, but in the main, if you look at the contributions we are receiving, comparing it to the benefits we are paying, we are on solid ground, and we continue to be stable at the fund. Poor customer experience remains a concern for us as management, and we are putting steps to close the gaps on this so that the experiences that even members of the committee are experiencing in their constituencies is also concerning for us because we've received a number of complaints. Chair, I'll move then to slide number 7. On slide number 7, Chair, I'm just highlighting the flow that I'll be taking through. I think first is just to give a snapshot of history, the qualifying matters, then go to the action plan, including COVID. We'll give a high level of how ready are we to submit the financials by the 31st of March. I think in the previous report that we are putting a secondment campaign on board. We also want to give members feedback on the amount of work this secondment team has done to assist us to be ready to submit the financials. I think I wanted to just to give a feel of the organization architecture, because one of the things raised is whether we have enough capacity as both institutions. And I think with the organizational architecture, I just want to give members a feel that there's a project in place that is focusing on reviewing the structure of both institutions. I think the last piece is a detailed plan that highlights all the areas of the that we picked up by IG, so that as the minister was saying, that the devil is in the detail. So that's what we are lifting up.
Sorry,
I think if you go to slide number 9.
Sorry, Commissioner. Sorry, remember it's on the list.
Okay.
When I was looking at the participants, Zolani saying is a Zoom user. Who's that person? Who's Zoom user? Can he or she identify himself or herself? Who's the Zoom user? Because if he's not identifying himself or herself, he will have to be. Is that easy for M? Please don't allow, don't admit people who are not identifying themselves properly. You can continue, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, on slide number 9, Chair and members, on this slide, what I'm highlighting is the UIF progress over the years, over the past 5 financial years. If you look at 2016, members, UIF received a disclaimer. With the amount of work that you put together with PIC, within 12 months, we were able to turn the audit opinion to a non-qualified audit opinion. But when we look at 2018, 2019, and 2020, you can see that the audit opinion regressed. But the key paragraph that auditors raised was predominantly on the investment portfolio. As we increased our investment on an unlisted portfolio, and so that impacted the audit opinion, because that is the area where our financial reporting period is not aligned with the investee companies. And you can see it pulls throughout the years, with 2019-20 introducing COVID tariffs, and again 2020-2021, again COVID tariffs making its way, because that's when we paid the 64.1 billion rands towards COVID tariffs. Then, Chair, I just want to move then to slide number 10. As I'm going through then the individual paragraphs. Now, on slide number 10, the audit qualifying paragraphs. The first one was the auditor being unable to verify the accuracy of the tariffs expenditure. And in order for us to address this matter, we appointed the Follow the Money. The first project, when they started in 2020, they worked for 12 months, and we've appointed them again for the second term. We've also done some reconciliation with the financial system, which was one of the items raised. And we've also set aside a separate team that focuses on tariffs, on COVID tariffs. The one area that we still need to work on here with SIU and the Fusion Center is on acknowledgement of debts, because the number of people that SIU has investigated, they've acknowledged that they owe UIF, and we are setting in motion the process of them paying back the money to UIF through our company that we set up to follow up on those. Then the second item was receivable, no controls to identify tariffs overpayments. But as overpayments were happening, at that time, there was no process in place to identify if we overpaid or underpaid, because we relied on the companies to give us information. And if you recall, Chair, there was a point where we opened the door and said, even those people that had not registered before, and they were registering for the first time, declaring their employees for the first time. And those people, when they applied, there was no data to compare against, because we are receiving that data for the first time. And we have since implemented a recovery process. We have used enforcement agency, including the NPA, SIU, and the Hawks, that has helped us to recover. We've also run through a recovery consolidation process, where we consolidated about 1.8 billion rands to make sure that what has been paid is aligned with what is on the table. Now, what is left in this space is how we recognize this treatment in our financials. Also to automate the overpayment, the systems, so that we're able to identify the overpayment. We've also appointed a debt collecting company that will be aligned with the acknowledgement of debt. Then if you go to slide number 11, slide number 11, I think here, Chair, was the incorrect data used for COVID shares provision. I think in this instance, we're not able to make the correct provision, because at the time it was difficult to tell how much money we should set aside. As you recall, the pandemic kept extending. We kept extending by 1 month, by 1 month, by 1 month, by 1 month. As a result, it was not easy to clearly ascertain how much money we can set aside for COVID tariffs. But we ended up paying 64.1 billion rands. And I think over time, we're able to clean up the data through analytics and clean up and match against what has been paid, and then do an extrapolation to determine how much money we can set aside. We're able to, we are continuously refreshing this data with our actuaries, and also continuously doing a recon with the operation system so that we have that balance done. And then table from exchange, I think in the main was how we had disclosed in the notes. And we've cleaned up now the disclosure note, and we have set aside a team, as I said, by the secondment company to also tease out those paragraphs where the disclosures are not clear enough and are also not aligned to the GRAP standards. And all the recoveries have been consolidated. One thing that is still outstanding, because these items, they change as we get more information from the audit firms in terms of to identify and recognize all terrorists. So as we receive information from either SIU or Follow the Money or the Fusion Center, then we update the notes and we update the lines. We also update the trial balance as we are receiving information as it goes. If you go to slide 12, on slide 12 was with the unlisted investment in adequate management of financial management of investee companies. I think here the issue, our greatest struggle here was the interpretation of the GRAP standard and how to treat those investee companies that have not submitted their financial statements, because quite often they'll give us management accounts, and if they're able to give us management accounts, the accuracy of these management accounts is not at the level to give an accurate and valuable information to plug them into financial statements. Now, what we've done today, we've engaged National Treasury and the Office of the Accountant General. We've written a technical memo to indicate how we're going to be treating these companies where we're not able to receive audited financial statements. At this stage, we are still waiting for final feedback from the Accountant General and National Treasury. But our approach is, with the technical memo that we put together, is the memo that we are going to use to justify the treatment that we are going to be applying to these investee companies as we continue. What remains at this stage, we are still waiting for PIC, because every now and again we are receiving evaluation reports that will be plugged into our financials to give the exact value of our investment. Then with unemployment, with unemployment alleviation scheme, here there was the issue of the commitment register. We have developed, it has been reviewed, signed off. We've also reconciled the prepayment, and we've also reviewed all the agreements that were listed, but also any other agreement at live activities, so that the complete book has been done. The last thing that we have finalized now is the accounting policy and disclosure note, because these, of course, we keep updating them as we are receiving information. We are also finalizing the checklist as we move on. So, Chair, moving on to slide 14. On slide 14, this is the global picture of the 2020-2021 financial year that was finalized this year in March. We just give you a picture of where we are. 62% has been finalized. 32% of the findings are work in progress. As we are finalizing them one by one, then we close them. That's just give the picture. And then if you go to slide 17, on slide 17, we are highlighting here the COVID terrorists audits that were picked up, and here we are saying 86% of this has been finalized. We are only remaining with 4, and these 4 findings that are remaining are the data that we still have to obtain from correctional services, from NEFSAS, and some from the Department of Military Veterans. Defense, the Department of Defense. So those are the areas that we are still left with, that we are still engaging these departments. And we also understand that this information is rather sensitive. It's not information that they can easily make available, but we're also looking at alternatives that we give them the data and they verify for us, and then we can close these findings. And then, Chair, I want to go to slide 19, just to give members our overall plan to ensure that by 31st March we submit the financials. This is the high-level project plan, and what we're highlighting here is all the activities up to the 12th of December has been executed. We intend to submit to internal audit the final annual financial statement to give them a chance to audit, and then once they've audited, it will go through to the audit committee, then the FAC, and then we'll take it to the board approval on the 22nd of March, and then we intend that by the 25th of March, the DG will sign off, and on the 31st of March, we'll submit to Auditor General and to the National Treasurer. And then the following slide, Chair, on slide 20, what I'm highlighting here is all the activities leading to us submitting the financials. As you can see, majority of the activities are now in green. We are just left with the 3 activities to reconcile between the financial and operational systems. 99% of this recon has been done. We are just left to reconcile the 200,000, and this item will be closed. But we want to automate it, and that's what we're doing right now. The other area is to consolidate all the recoveries from external sources. This is from the Fusion Center, SIU, the Hawks, and NPA, including all the acceptance of debt. This is the last step that is remaining, and then that item will be closed. And also to confirm with the accounting general and national treasury on the technical memo that we put together. As far as the UI is concerned, that this is the approach that we're going to take. We just want them to give us an input to say the approach we're taking is spot on, or if there's anything that we need to change. But so far, given the advice we received from the secondment team, we are quite comfortable that the treatment approach that we're taking will give us the desired results. Chair, if you go to slide 22, I'm trying to manage time, Chair, as well. I think on slide 22, Chair, what I want to highlight here is we've brought in FTMG on board to help us to ensure that when we submit our financials, we've covered all the bases. In phase 1, which was from 1st of May 2020 to 30th April 2023, was to improve financial management control, just to get them to understand and analyze audit findings and analyze risk. And they've covered those areas. They've also already dealt with disclosure notes and accounting policy and GRAP standards, to an extent that we have a GRAP standard checklist that as we account for every single GRAP standard, we've developed a checklist with them. And we've done a one-on-one match where we have from FTMG, they are matched with a direct person at UIF. So there's also a continuous skills transfer to ensure that as we do disclosure notes and accounting policy and accounting treatment and the GRAP standard issues, the skills transfer immediately. And all those areas has been covered. And then the final phase, the phase 3 is for the submission of the financials by 31st March. We want them to do a mock audit as part of us ensuring that we are ready to submit the financials. They'll look at the cash flow notes, and do quality assurance of the financials, so that by the time they sign off, we know that we've ticked all the boxes to make sure that the financials have covered all the areas. And then the intention is that they're going to help us then through the process, the audit process, so that as we do the audit process, all the areas has been covered. Chair, I want to move on then to slide 26. Yeah. Chair, just click again, Matapelo. Thank you. On slide 36, Chair, 26, the emphasis here is the work that we are doing with the key area that is putting us in this situation that we are in, which is the investment in the unlisted portfolio. We've consulted with various stakeholders, and we've changed the accounting treatment, especially on the unlisted investment. We have also developed a review process to deal with accounting treatment and management accounts, because in the main, where we are not receiving audited financial statement, then we have management accounts or interim financial statements. We developed a specific treatment methodology for management accounts and for interim financial statement. Where is audited financial statements, it's easy to plug into the financials because there's been a pair of eyes that has audited and confirmed that that's the position of the fund. We've reviewed the unlisted investment mandate so that we thin it out and put extra controls. We've also put in place governance structures where we are having meetings with the investment committee between the PIC and the UIF, meetings with the board to board, including the Deputy Minister of Finance, just to make sure that certain areas that we would struggle to address, they are addressed timelessly. I think what I want to highlight in slide 28 is the extent, slide 28. I think here, Chair, is just to give members a feel that overall, with the unlisted portfolio, we have received 58% of the audited financial statement, which is a significant progress in terms of enabling us to account appropriately in our financials. Then the remaining one that I want to highlight is on slide 29. Slide 29 is Chair and members on slide 29. If you can see where we have not received audited financial statement, these companies are in different stages of financial difficulty. Some of them, as you can see, there's 4 of them that are in litigation, some are in business rescue, and some of them are in liquidation. So given the situation that they are facing, oftentimes it's quite difficult for these companies to put together financial statement and a financial statement audited and submitted to UIF. And this is the area where we are engaging National Treasury and Accounting General on what would be the best treatment in terms of financials to plug these companies into our financials. Chair, I'll then move to slide 31 as I'm managing time. On slide 31, Chair, the emphasis here is on COVID terrorists and the work that we are doing with COVID terrorists. I think the first key that was lifted up was issues on overpayment, and the technology that we've put together here is the development of an accounting treatment that has been done, and also linking up the technology in what has been paid, and also what is on the financial statement. We have developed that, and we've reduced the overpayments now to a minimum amount. I think I said earlier that we've also reconciled, and what is left not to reconcile is the 200,000 that we intend to finish within in the next 2 weeks. So when we submit the financials, that area is out. Acknowledgement of debt, that's one area we're still finalizing with SIU and follow the money. We have all the acknowledgement of debts that we've received from SIU. We've developed an accounting treatment. And now the last step is just to engage those who owe us and put together the methodology of how they will paying the money back into UIF. The 2 areas now is the refunds. A number of companies, as soon as the Follow the Money program started, a number of companies started to deposit money into our account to an extent that they've deposited about 2.4 billion rands in our account. And that's the recon that we've done to date to ensure that every single cent that was deposited into the UIF account is accounted for, and we know who it came from and what it was for exactly, and that has enabled us then also to close that area. I think the final area here is to have a system to introduce a solution that communicates the finance and the finance and operational system to speak to each other. We are in the final stages for that integration, so that we avoid a manual integration of the 2 systems, and we are able to enable a proper integration. The deployment is happening within the next week, and then this area will be closed. Chair, I want to go to slide 33. I think I'm not going to spend time on slide 33, but it's safe to say, Chair, that Follow the Money has started work, and we have been able to confirm 4.1 billion rands in phase 1. That gave us the feel that money was paid to to the right people, because this was one of the areas raised by AG, that they need to be given certainty that we are able to account where the money was paid and it was paid to who. And we follow the money, 14.4 billion rands has been confirmed. I think if you go to slide 34, on slide 34, this is just a highlight. If you look at the red dot, that with acknowledgement of that, 4.9 billion has been acknowledged, but 13.6 million rands has been paid already. So we are working on the difference now, where we are pursuing the people, and 2.5 billion rands was paid directly to the employees. So we are generally making progress with COVID tears in terms of accounting and also reconciling in our work that we're doing with our partners in other state agencies like the Hawks, the Fusion Center, SIU, and NPA. So we are making progress, and we've been working well, and they are cooperating with the work that we're doing. I want to go to slide 42, because I think for us that's a critical slide. On slide 42, one of the critical work that we're doing with the secondment companies is to introduce financial discipline in how we manage day-to-day finances of the fund, including leading into the reporting with annual financial statement. And the first item was balancing all supported by supporting appropriate schedules that's accounting for all movements. Because one of the things that was raised was limitation of scope. And that's one area that we want to close, that in this audit, we want to reduce the number of limitation of scope, where AG is saying, commissioner and members, we don't have enough material to audit, and therefore we are not able to express an opinion. That's one area that we are closing as a fund. And in terms of expansion and supply chain, we've also introduced processes in that area, in that expansion within budget are avoided, and we're also closing tabs with unauthorized expenditure in anything that would lead us to close all the supply chain related matters. We've developed checklists. I think the last key one is grab checklists, because quite often the grab standards will stipulate how you need to account for specific items. And what we've done now is to develop a specific checklist for each grab standard, that as we account for each item, we relate it back to the checklist of the grab standard to tick all the boxes. That is, we are accounting, have we covered all the areas. Chair, in terms of slide 48 to 52, I'm not going to go into detail on those slides, but safe to say that members, on those slides, it's a detailed step-by-step activities and progress on each item that we've implemented to ensure that we close the audit findings, and also that we are ready to submit the annual financial statement by the 1st of March. Chair, I will stop at this point and thank the members for the opportunity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Are there any additions, DG, from your side?
No, thanks, Chair. I think the Commissioner has covered everything. Thank you, Chair.
No, okay. Can I just establish for members in terms of the process? Do you want to receive all presentations at once, or you want to get clarities and questions while our minds are still fresh? Questions after each and every presentation. I'm asking that because we are not pressed with time in terms of us rushing for plenary. Can I just check from you members which process you think it will be fine for you?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to you, the Minister and Deputy Minister, as well as DG and all the staff and the honorable members present. My proposal, Chair, is that let's take the two funds presentations and then ask questions, and thereafter, after those discussions with the two funds, then we take the department. Thank you, Chair.
There is a proposal. Other members, do you have a problem with that? Are you still here?
Chair, I concur with the Honorable
Who's that one?
Walmarans.
Oh, okay. Before the compensation comes in, I don't think there's any counter proposal. Okay. Before the compensation fund comes in, I was just checking with Zolani. There are people here that don't know who's Sipo. I will assume Yawa is the legal person from the department, and I will tell you why I am a bit sensitive on this. Maybe people will think that I'm a bit petty. We must know who is here, because we don't want. We know people that the social media, and you can't control that space. People have got their own views and their own interpretations, and they go and write something that said this was a decision of a committee, when in fact the committee is still receiving and asking questions. Members are going to ask questions. So we must know who is Sipo. Is Sipo from the department? If he is not from a department, he is a guest, he must introduce himself.
Chair, I don't want to assume it's Sipondebele. I want him to confirm that it's Sipondebele. The Sipondebele is the acting DDG, Labor Policy and Industrial Relations.
Is that correct, Mr. Ndebele?
Yes, Chair, it's correct. Chair, my apologies. I couldn't comment before the.
Please do that. Who is somebody that Judith Kumbi? Is it? I would have appreciated if provincial heads would have just next to their name did that as Eastern Cape has done so. How the Eastern Cape has done it, that is correct, so that we don't want to know who is who here. Yes, guests are, a committee is a public, it's public can come in, they know when we're physical, they will come, introduce themselves so that we know. But we don't want, we observe something very strange that we don't want people just come in, or my friend told me that the committee. If you are interested, it's fine, but what is important is that you must tell us who you are. Having said that, I am seeing now, welcoming the Office of the Auditor General of South Africa. Morning, ma'am. Sorry for not acknowledging you initially when we opened the meeting. Okay, do we have guests outside the staff of the department? I'm not referring to provinces. Do we have guests? Okay. Yeah, sure. The compensation fund, and welcome the acting commissioner from the compensation fund. Over to you, ma'am. Would like to see your face also.
Good. Yes. Camera. Yes. Good morning, members of the committee, Minister DG at CF and welcome. In terms of it being, should I share presentation?
Yeah, Matapelo is gonna share.
You, now we have seen your face. You may switch off your video so that it does not affect the
connectivity. Okay. I'm just waiting for it. It's saying here started screen sharing. Apologies, I get kicked out. I have joined on my phone also. So if I get kicked out because it keeps on saying that the internet connection is quite unstable, but apologies. If I get kicked out, I will join on my phone. Okay, I'm just waiting, Honorable Chairperson, on the screen sharing.
Whilst you're waiting for the screen for it to be shown, I want to request to honorable members to allow you to go through your document, because we have received our document on the presentation, so that we don't waste time. Whilst you are still Matapelo is still battling with the connectivity, we will allow you to continue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this, giving us the opportunity to present. From the compensation fund, I would just like to touch on slide 2, where I'm talking in terms of the purpose of this presentation. It is to provide the committee with the progress update on our clean audit action plan is being implemented to address the key focus areas that have contributed to the disclaimed audit opinions as highlighted by AGSA over a period of years within the fund. The plan demonstrates the work to address the control weaknesses, the initiatives that are in progress, and the future initiatives that are aimed at responding to the deficiencies that we have identified. We would also like the committee to just note that quality significant claim audit. We can just move to slide 3, please. That is where I'm on. So slide 3, as you of the presentation, the first slide that goes to the management progress status, the summary of our 30th September 2022, our updated clean audit action plan, which I will speak to, and updated clean audit action plan and the conclusion. The next slide, by mistake here. Honorable members, we just want you to note that please, the green is obviously actions that are complete and satisfactory. The red are not yet complete or unsatisfactory in terms of the quality of the POE. And the blue are actions which have a future due date. Next slide. What we have done is this action plan is the implementation which started, the first action plan which we started on June 2021. And the one, just to give some context, we were cognizant of previous action plans and how they addressed AGSA findings. And what we wanted to do is give an approach where we took the findings. So in essence, maybe killing two birds with one stone, in that you are addressing the root cause that gives you multiple findings. So in June 2021, we then revised our action plan prior to the previous, is that we then combine them into total root causes or categories. As you can see, the categories range from A to K there. And starting with the revenue and receivables from non-exchange transactions, that category was 44. To date, we have completed 42. There are 2 actions which are unsatisfactory when we review the POEs. And we have just a month to complete those 5 actions. In terms of benefits, we had 72 actions and 58 were complete and satisfactory POEs and overpassing the due date, and 2 are within the future dates of March 2023. Our provision for outstanding claims, the findings remains, and those 2 are satisfactory, 2 obviously being in red, unsatisfactory POEs. In terms of consolidation of investments in associates, so I think on ours, just to touch a bit more related to the fact that our investments would not give us the financial statements in a timeless fashion so that we can then align them to GRAP standards to go within our financials. And those actions are then 3, with 1 being unsatisfactory. And investment in financial assets and associates, also related to the some investment findings there. We had 7, and we have 5 that are satisfactory, 2 unsatisfactory. They affecting the AFS, and we had 3 actions there, with 2 being implemented and 1 not being satisfactory. In terms of contingencies, we had 6 actions, 3 unsatisfactory, with our irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, which is related to prior years of a lot of address them through condonements, etc., and cleaning up that item list there in terms of the list of items that have been classified as fruitless and wasteful. There we had 11 total actions, with 10 being addressed and 1 being overdue. Matters, we had 26 there, and 21 have been completed, with 5 having an unsatisfactory. We have also included an improvement in the control environment, which looks at gaps within our operations to address our audit outcome. All 7 have been addressed, with 2 obviously just being with the future date. So in total, what I would like to highlight is we have a total of 187 actions, 56 have been complete. Sorry, my eyesight is a bit. 155 have been completed, and that gives around 82.89% completion rate. 32 are obviously an unsatisfactory POE, and that 11%, and the 10 items that are due for March 2023, which are in progress. Then on slide 7, I think Matapelo, sorry, yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, thank you. So in terms of the audit action plan, which was started in June 2021, the fund then realized that we had to also extend to include audit finding areas from 2019 up to 2021, and closing of approach we took was to say we did understand that the new action plan addressed the root causes and all the findings that we have had with AG, but we wanted a more consolidated approach, action plans, and consolidate them in the June 2021 action plan that we had developed, ensuring that all actions have been covered and the risk in terms of, therefore, Chairperson, I'm not going, Honorable Chairperson, I'm not going to go through all those categories again as I have, but what you can see from there is that the actions then going then properly then to then 638 now when we include prior action plans. And from those 638 in June 2021 to December 2021, we had 419 that were due between January 2022 to November 2022, which constitutes 66% of the consolidated, have 9%, which is due between December 2022 to March 2023, right? So in essence, what I would like to highlight here is that this action plan was consolidated to give us a more comprehensive by taking prior actions that have been implemented by the fund, but just ensuring that we have qualitative outcomes on those actions. And the consolidated action plan did go through the due process of sign-off, and we have received approval from DG to follow the process in terms of the consolidated action plan that we now are implementing. Thank you. The next slide, please. Okay, so in terms just interventions action plan, as I've indicated, the plan has been extended to include all areas relating to most current audit findings which were issued from the 2019-20 financial year to the sorry, I think there's a typo there, 20 to 21 financial year. The areas covered extensive matters, key internal control enhancements, and limitation of scope matters lending to audit findings relating to the disclaimer. Controls with implementation required consistently has been identified and will be ongoing, which will require progress and related POEs. In terms of that sentence, what we've also realized within the business is that some controls are not a once-off action item. There are ones that must be done maybe bi-weekly, monthly, etc. And in terms of those, well, the way we report to them is that you've achieved in terms of what you need to do, but are you doing a monthly monitoring in terms of implementing that control? And that is one of the key outcomes also in terms of improving the audit outcomes. Management-related timelines with the intense consultations from management up to chief director level. So we have ensured that the commitment is not only at senior management level, but we have POEs from the relative chief directorates of how they have communicated this action item to even junior employees within the fund, and taking into consideration how their actions contribute to the audit. Internal audit under the directorate. Management has also held consultation sessions with the requirements, expectations, and accountability of all officials within their chief directorate on the relevant action items, which I've touched on. All officials have responsibility towards the Clean Audit Action Plan. And there's a formal process of monitoring what has been established. So we have weekly progress from management submitted on Fridays. We have a task team verifications with management, including provinces and the commission and the acting commissioner. Overdue items are escalated to the acting commissioner and reported to various structures with reasons and dependencies highlighted by management. And the internal audit testing of controls effectiveness. And I've indicated it's passed through all due process and it was approved by DG in October 2022. The next slide, please. So to conclude, obviously I've shown you those 11 and we are focusing on closing those overdue items or items without an adequate POE. And the findings with completed actions have established adequate controls which require management to consistently implement such with assurance on such compliance to prevent repeat findings. Okay. And I think the next slide it just says, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Honorable members, there are the presentations. DG, is there anything that you would like to add?
No, thanks, Chair. I think Ms. Fakir covered everything.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Fakir. Members, there are the presentations. Can I get an indication of members who want to ask questions? Honorable Mugabe. For now, it's still Honorable Mugabe. Honorable Mugabe, Honorable Kado. Thank you. Honorable Mugabe, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thanks DG and the commissioners for the presentations, as well as the minister's overview. Let me then first appreciate the overview by the minister in relation to the Sunday Times article that he has made a commitment that he would come back to the portfolio committee and address the issues. Although he did not mention the time frame, we would urge the minister to try his utmost best not this matter to be escalated more than a year, more than a month, if possible. Would appreciate if ever it is done within a month. Secondly, Chair, on the presentation by UIF, I think there was slide 29 that talks to the companies that are in financial distress in relation to investees. Has there been any attempt or engagement between the department entities and those companies in trying to find a solution? How are they going to be assisted so that they themselves, understanding why they were in that distress in the first place, so that we try and minimize job losses further than the unemployment rate that is too high? the last point, Chair, on CF, I did not get the state of readiness for the fund to audit. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Kado.
Thank you, Chair. I had wanted to get an update from the IF on how much money it has in the kitty. We did hear at one stage last year that there was a growing mismatch between contributions received and payments made. And I just wanted to know whether we could get an update on what the situation is in that regard and what the actuaries are saying about the long-term sustainability of the fund. And then secondly, on the compensation fund, forgive me if I missed it, due to connectivity problems, I wasn't able to hear all of the minister's overview, but I wanted to know whether we had an explanation for the compensation fund commissioner's decision to resign and what the circumstances were leading up to that. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Kado. Hands. Response. DG and the commissioners. We'll start with UIF.
Chair, I was going to say, let me start with the easy one. Commissioner, CF.
Okay.
Commissioner, when I initially when he was studying to a CA, so he had to aside and focus that I gave to him. For a number of years, if from his studies and check the fund with him.
Thank you, Chichi. Commissioner on UIF.
Thank you, Chair. I will start with the question by Honorable Kado, and just to a bit of comparison, and then I'll hand over to the CFO before I answer the question by Honorable Gaba. Chair, in terms of contributions that we're receiving, I'm just looking now at Q3 performance. Since the beginning of October, overall in total, we've received in contributions 6 billion rands for UIF, and we had paid 3.7 billion rands in benefit payments, which gives us just over 2.5 billion rands money remaining after we paid the benefits. So in terms of financial position of the fund, there's an upward improvement in terms of our solid footing. But I'll give the CFO just to add a bit more on our financial footing. Thanks, Chair. Then I'll move on to the next questions. CFO, can you please respond?
Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Chair. The question from the Honorable Mr. Kado.
Can you see your face?
Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes.
Sorry, Chair.
You see your face. We want to see your face.
Can you see me now, Chair?
Okay, continue.
All right, my apology, Chair. All right, So when it comes to how much is our balance sheet currently, we are sitting at plus 120 billion, which is an improvement, from, before the COVID payments, we were sitting at 150 billion, about 115 billion in terms of our balance sheet, but we are steadily improving, and we are happy with that performance. And our actuaries has also conducted an assessment to check, in terms of our sustainability. So we are covered, and we see a gradual improvement in terms of the contributions versus what we are paying. So we end up with a net surplus instead of a net deficit. So we are very comfortable with our financial position. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Can I then respond to another question? On the slide 29. I think Honorable Mdabe is raising a pertinent question to an extent that we had an investment committee. We also had a board-to-board meeting, and even met the CEO of PIC together with the deputy minister, who is the chairperson of the board, because we are concerned about the status of these companies and the potential of job losses. PIC has since put together a program to assist these companies to lift them out of the financial difficulty that they are facing. We are monitoring this progress every quarter when they come and report to us. But also we have our Chief Investment Officer, Christine, monitoring them every month to see if there's any change in the performance of these investing companies. Some of them have found themselves in difficult position where you find that some of them are in construction and there's no movement in the construction space. So they need to move into a different portfolio. But that's what we are constantly monitoring. But it is worrisome, Honorable Mdabe and other members, that once we are trying to create jobs and safeguard jobs, we are facing a potential of losing the same jobs. And I think we are watching this space closely, as you are here. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, honorable members. We are now in the absence of, I don't see any hands there. We will now hand over to you. We'll hand over to you. No. Your compensation fund has not responded to a question around the state of readiness. Can you do that, ma'am?
Yes, thank you, Chair, Honorable Chair. So, Honorable Mdabe, 3 points that I would like to emphasize that will indicate our readiness. First of all, the annual financial statements that must be tabled, since you correctly, the committee correctly pointed out in the AFS for the 2022-23 financial year. So in terms of the AFS readiness, we do have a plan in place, and it will be submitted on the 31st of March with submission to National Treasury and AG for audit. Then in terms of readiness, what we have touched on also last year, even though we were not the RFI's request for information from the 2020-21 audit that we were last audited on, and we issued them from an internal control perspective to all business units and kind of by the CF, thereby ensuring that all the RFIs were then responded to. So we did not, just relax and say we're not audited. So that was another readiness exercise of also our readiness, I can assure you we've already had an opening meeting with AG, and they have already begun auditing us. So we are already receiving RFIs from AG for the planning audit.
In terms of the state of readiness, if I may ask just another question in terms of the process, is that which I think Minister and DG and the Commissioner and the acting Commissioner, in my view, it's what is to be done. Yes, auditors will be at the HQ. Sorry. Sorry. But how prepared is that preparation also including provinces? And if it is including provinces, is it being done physically? I'm raising this because as we now engage in inviting them, we want also them to be live to the fact that we are not only asking questions to the minister and the DG, but they also have got that responsibility of ensuring that the work processes of this department, they are not bystanders and think that they can just do as after all the DG is going to respond. So that's where my question is in terms of that state of readiness. Do you include them, which I will assume you are, but in that inclusion, do you visit them so that you are able, because remember that they constitute part of the Department of Employment and Labor.
Chair, let me respond that. I think I'm sorry, managers that are responsible for doing UIF and necessitates that there must be direct rotation. So there is two funds visit. Whether they do things for the audit. There are that's why there's close interaction. State of next time when we meet, which we meet almost the line from the part of meetings because the committee as just because they know what take responsibility now must take responsibility that works towards most important making place. And, we for the commission.
No, thank you very much, DG. Thank you very much. We will. We're happy if then that it's what is happening. But we'll, from time to time, you know, everybody knows that this process, all processes are process of conducting an oversight, and at an appropriate time, as the committee, when we think to have a program to visit a province, we will do that. But I think if there is that interaction, I think it's fine. It's an interaction in the right direction. I see that there are no more hands on this.
I have a check.
Oh, sorry, Honorable Mugabe.
Thank you, Chair. Just a follow-up on the question that we both raising on the state of readiness. If we recall, Chair, on the 2021 financial year audit, when the previous commissioner, Mr. Mafata, was responding to questions that we raised, I think one of those questions was the issue of a basic accounting principle that says any transaction has a source document. And one of the things, one of his responses was that the challenge that they are facing is provinces losing documents. Some of those documents could not be found. So it was in that context that we were raising this issue of state of readiness. And you correctly put it that most of the information comes from provinces. Therefore, we would have required the provinces to say, yes, now they have corrected what was an anomaly previously. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Mugabe. I think in closing this, I don't know whether you want the DG to respond, but the only unfortunate situation at the time is that no province was named. It was not said it's province X. And we are requesting DG and the acting commissioner that, what is this term that they used? They must be named and shamed. That's the only thing that it will make them, provinces, to wake up now and see that it's no more a free for all out to whether somebody will respond. So which is a correct, it's a very correct and a profound question, but the unfortunate part is that we were not informed of which is or which are those provinces, which the acting commissioner now will have to do that. You tell us which provinces, so that when we decide to conduct an oversight, we decide to conduct an oversight on the basis of our observations on that province X is not pulling up. Province X is creating a problem for, because all this is not for us, not for the minister, not for everyone, but it's for the people that are then service. It falls within the ambit of service delivery. So the naming and shaming of provinces is then going to it will have to be done. So I hope the CPDOs they are listening attentively and taking note of that. I don't know, did you whether you would like to respond on the follow-up question?
Chair, I think the question raised by implementation with those line function manager. Let's enable everyone can absorb the line fund in the province. The same has so accounting should not only be limited across the in the lower chain, take the better because sometimes people have known
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We will now we will I will then hand over to you.
Thank you very much. Just run through the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. Good morning, chairperson, colleagues, and everyone else on the meeting. I'm going to ask Matapalu, thanks. I see she's already sharing the presentation. I'm going to run through the presentation with very specific slides, chairperson, if that is acceptable to you. Excuse me, because it's a very comprehensive and lengthy presentation. So I want to start at slide 8, which is just a reminder and confirmation what Minister said earlier, that we took a decision in the department that if an indicator is not 100% achieved, we will mark it as not achieved, so that we don't get that robot type of colors where we've got things in progress. Either we've achieved it for the quarter or we haven't achieved it. If we move to slide number 9, this is just a pie chart to give us an indication of what the performance was of the department in quarter 1 of this financial year. As Minister already alluded to, we have achieved 71% of our indicators for this particular quarter. On slide 12, we have a little bit more unpacking in terms of who did what. We will see that the program administration had 7 indicators, with 5 that were achieved for quarter 1, which leads to a 71% achievement. We have inspection and enforcement services who had 4 indicators, 3 were achieved, leading to 75%. Public employment services had 4, and they achieved all 4 of these indicators. And then labour policy, industrial relations, which had 6, and unfortunately achieved only 50% of their indicators. That brings us to a performance for the department for quarter 1 of 15 indicators achieved, 6 not achieved, and a 71% performance level. On slide 13, there is a comparison between quarter 4 and quarter 1. I think the Minister in his overview already gave an overview on this. In terms of quarter 4, excuse me, program 1 had an achievement of 75%. Quarter 1, it went down to 71%. Inspection enforcement services stayed at 75% for the 2 quarters. Public employment services improved the performance to 100%, and then labour policy industrial relations performance went down from 88% to 50%. On slide 15, Chairperson, I give a breakdown of provincial performance for the quarter for both IES and public employment services. You will note that 3 provinces for IES managed to achieve 100% performance. That was Eastern Cape, Free State, and Western Cape. The other provinces, except for Northern Cape, had a 67% performance level, and Northern Cape came in at a 0 achievement of indicators for inspection and enforcement services. In terms of public employment services, all the provinces except Western Cape achieved 100%, with Western Cape's achievement lying at 75%. On slide 16, I have just made a breakdown of performance from Q4 to Q1 of this financial year, and I would like to just mention 4 provinces. Again, Eastern Cape, Free State, Western Cape with their 100% performance, and then the concern of Northern Cape where they have not achieved any of the indicators for Q1 for IES. If we move to slide 17, it's the same reflection that I've made for IES. We can see here that Gauteng managed to improve from Q4 to Q1 to 100%, from 75% to 100% performance. Western Cape unfortunately went down from 100% to 75%, and all the other provinces maintained the performance that they had at 100%. If it's the areas of underachievement, and 1 or 2 other slides. The first area of underachievement was that in Program 1 administration, the vacancy rate, as members know, that the vacancy rate has been a challenging matter for the department. So we had a vacancy rate in Q1 of 9.27% against the target of 8%. And the reasons are well known to this committee is the huge amounts of applications that we receive against the capacity that we have in the program to deal with these huge amounts. I mean, one vacancy can attract up to 20,000 applications. And then the second area of non-achievement is the employment relations cases, which have not been completed within the 90 days that they had to be completed in. And here the program has also been historically been struggling to achieve this indicator. The next slide I would like to focus on is slide 28, Jim. And this is the one area of underperformance for inspection and enforcement services. Matapelo, if you could just please move to slide 28. Overview spoke about the 71,000 inspections that were done and alluded to the fact that although the target has not been met, quite a large number of inspections were indeed performed. So some offices, there were quite a number of vacancies that had to be filled, and it takes some time to fill the vacancies. And of course, then when you have a new inspector, they are not fully effective. It takes quite a number of months for an inspector to become fully effective, and that leads to the targets not necessarily being achieved, because we do not decrease the number of targets when inspectors resign or leave. We leave them as is, and that creates this underperformance. If we move to slide number 41, this is the Labour Policy Industrial Relations. Chairperson, you will recall that I said they had a 50% performance level, and there were quite a number of indicators that were not achieved for this program. Most of these are administrative areas which could have been achieved. The first of that is the collective agreements, which were not verified within 60 days, target of 100%. The bilateral, multilateral reports that had to be signed off, where the target date was not achieved in terms of the sign-off dates, and this was mostly due to the 5th Global Conference on the Elimination of Child Labour, where officials' time was focusing on that, and they prioritized that because it was a first for the country and for Africa. And then the second one was the reports that had to be submitted, the draft reports had to be submitted and completed, and these were not achieved as per the deadlines. I think on the next slide, slide 42, not met. And again, mostly it is internal administrative reasons why these were not achieved. On slide 58, I think the Minister also alluded to this in his overview. We give a breakdown on the money that was recovered for vulnerable workers, and the breakdown here is for the different types of legislation. You can see that for the BCA, we recovered just under 800,000 rands. In terms of the national minimum wage, just under 6 million rands that was recovered for workers. In terms of compensation contributions, a staggering 74 million rand that was recovered by the inspectorate in this quarter. And then in terms for the UI, 800 and just under, let's say 870,000 rands that were recovered by our inspectors during their inspections. Slide 90, I've just given a breakdown in terms of the placement of the age groups of people that we place in work. Members will note that 70% or 16,538 of the work seekers that we have placed are young people between the ages of 15 and 35 years. And then 30%, 7,127 were aged 36 and above. And then there was one person whose age was not specified in the data available. Then on the last slide that I would like to look at is slide number 92. And this gives us a breakdown of placement by gender in the different provinces. The placement here shows that the majority of people that were placed in work by public employment services were women, 58% of them, and 42% of these were male. You will see that in the provinces where really there were quite a high number of placements of women was Limpopo, followed by the Mpumalanga province and then Western Cape, and from there down. But overall, the numbers of placements were dominated by women. Chairperson, that is what I would like to bring to the attention of the committee out of these slides that we have presented in the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. DG, before I ask questions, any additions?
No, Chair, thank you. I think Ms. Bronco's covered everything.
Okay. Any questions from members? Any questions? Whilst members are still, I want to check, DG, a question from myself. Targets are being met. Oh, before that, I say here now, Honorable Dabe, I will allow members first to ask questions, then I will come with my comments and questions. Lastly, Honorable Dabe.
Thank you, Chair. It's not a question as such, it's just a comment and a word of appreciation from the DTG of Inspection Enforcement. I raised a matter with her in relation to a particular center that employs people but treat them unfairly. And they swiftly intervened and there were action taken. And their swift action led to the employers addressing all the deficiencies that were there. And in engaging with the people that are employed in that center, they are very much appreciative of the work that was done by the inspection and enforcement. Thank you very much for their action, Chair. Thanks.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Dabe. I think as members, that is what we are to do. We've always been saying that when we pick up issues at either constituencies or where we reside, or where you go and visit and you come across whatever, even if you are in a in a shop, you pick up a call and you don't wait for the portfolio committee. You will only wait for the portfolio committee when you don't get even a response either from the minister or from the DG. So thank you very much, Honorable Dabe, for that. In fact, they know the DG Eastern Cape and what's this and Western Cape. I do call. In fact, I also forward emails that are forwarded to me to them, and also to the department. So I think that is what then we are to do. But a minister in DG, targets are being met, fine. But the impact of that, I'll make an example so that people understand if I'm putting it very confusing. I'll make an example I'll use a human settlement. A target is met of 95% of the work and money that has been allocated. The money is at 75%, but the impact apparently houses that are built are far less, if they are not far less, the quality of those houses. So I just want you to understand the concern that I am having as an activist, is that targets are being met on this, maybe department they differ, but the impact outside is something that is very alarming. And I'm of the understanding that the AG is also now looking into that you meet targets, you use so much money, whereas what is outside is just the audit is clean. I'm making an example. The audit is clean, but what is outside is just a difference of what is on paper. I hope that will not be the situation. And if then I'm confusing issues. Remember that I'm from a sector that was more dealing with service delivery to people. I think if you want to, if there's something that you want to comment on, respond on, DG, I'll allow you to do that.
Chair, thank you very much. Chair, thank you very much. What you're talking about is something that we grapple with on a daily basis, and when we have planning meetings, and when we review our performance as a department. Incidentally, what you're raising is the discussion. You're raising something we discussed with the COO yesterday. That, for instance, the Public Employment Services Program in the department, over the years, without fail, they've been achieving 100%. But how do you translate that into the impact in terms of the number of people that are out there that are unemployed? Now, the biggest challenge that you have, and we always make this disclaimer, I don't know if the committee has noticed that whenever we come to the committee to present our stretch plan and our APP, we make this disclaimer that our APP, our stretch plan and APP is solely based on the resources that we have. So we have a number of X number of employment services practitioners. And we then use that number and say we can reach X number of employers, or we can solicit X number of and place X number of people based on the limited resources that we have. That's one thing. The second thing is that the realities of the labor market in our economy makes it very, very difficult for us. Even if we were to get tenfold what we have in terms of the numbers of the employment services practitioners, the reality is we're still living with the structural nature of the of our economy that has an impact on jobs. That's the second thing is the economy is not doing well. It hasn't been doing well for quite some time. And if you read the report from the statistician general, there are a number of critical sectors that have not improved even from pre-COVID era, and key amongst those is agriculture, construction, and manufacturing. So you have those realities, and you have the constraints that are as a result of the limited resources that we have. We would love to do more and match the resources that we have with the challenges that we're trying to resolve. That's why if you see the slide on the monies recovered by the inspectorate, what we're trying to say to the committee is that this is the impact that we think we're making, and we know that that money is used for people to put food on the table. And when it comes to jobs, one little job that we create, we know that there are 7 more people relying on or dependent on that one person who is employed. So there's a multiplier effect that you can apply if you look at the real impact on the social lives of our people. Small our efforts as they are, but I think they go a long way in impacting on the lives of the people. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Minister?
No, Chair, I'm comfortable with the explanation.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to say before we close?
Now, what I need to emphasize, thanks, Comrade Mdabe, what you're saying about the inspections, and what you also said, Chair, it would be good that the honorable members direct these queries to us. We don't hear some of them even here. They direct them to us, direct them to the responsible branches, but also, as you have said, the CDPOs must also have contacts with the members of parliament. It would be good that Mr. Sagaza gets the contact numbers of the CDPOs so that the members can have them, because what matters is what is happening on the ground. And once more, thanks to the accolades to Eki, but I know that there is a man there at who's the CDPO in KZN, and who's also up to the task. But what I'm trying to say, that working relationship between our offices and the portfolio committee is very important. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Minister, the Deputy, and the DG, and the commissioners, and the entire leadership of the Department of Employment and Labor, which also includes provinces. I want to labor on this, that provinces must not take it light. That from now on, they are going to be part of our meetings. Because we must really have to, we are to have a clear picture and an understanding of what is happening. And we'll get those numbers, Minister. But also, and I want also to remind members to encourage ourselves that we must be sure. For instance, I'm still going to visit a particular, I'm not saying which province, so that they prepare that because of the work because of service delivery in that office, their workload is increasing because a person will tell his or her neighbor that I went to office X and things are being, the service you received there. And now that office is having a serious overflow of people. But even that happening, people are being serviced. It then means we will then have to check why the neighboring office is not doing as they are supposed to do. We're going to visit your offices in one way or another. There's an MEC that went to that thing went viral. Then there's an MEC who became an old woman and went to a SASA office. And she sat there from 9 to 12, waiting to be attended like all other old people, listening on how our people are being spoken to by government officials. And at a particular point, she called the district manager that I am here. And this is what I have observed, and this is what I experienced. And when the person was answering the phone, he said, Ashka, where is that MC? She's telling lies. And I can't be seated in a desk forever. And when the MEC then exposed himself, she nearly fainted because the MEC was not creating stories, is what was happening in front of her. That's what we're going to do where we have time and space, right across in all provinces. So, because we know on how our people are being spoken to by some of the officials, junior officials, because that's where the challenge is. It's those people that are serving our people, and we can't allow that to happen. Whether a client is black, green, white, or gray, you are to speak. And if you have got a challenge with how you are treated by your manager, don't take out that to a client. Deal with the client, and after that, you sort out your issues as the staff. So this thing of ensuring that we have got a professional public servant, it's not going only to be dependent on them going to be trained. No, it is when they are to do their day-to-day work. Because when they were interviewed, they were told, I am prepared to work under pressure. So we really, I know my victims here in terms of provinces is Eastern Cape and Western Cape. I'm coming to others. I'm going to get your numbers. I don't even wait for Sakaza to. I phone the PLO and say, I want a number of, for instance, Minister, for your information, and I hope Gauteng has corrected that. It was on social media. One of our members reported that in an office that is in Randburg, if I am not mistaken, when it's lunchtime, all of your staff go for lunch. How can that happen? How can you all go for lunch? Where I was working before is that there will be those that will be go for first lunch, and there will be those that will be going to second lunch. You can't all go. So that thing, I even called the PLO to say, well, Baba, there's this that has been reported by Honorable Bonani on what is then happening. So all those things, we are going to ensure that when we rise the sixth administration, there is going to be a difference. Each and every province, whether rural, the victims are rural and peri-urban. But even in urban areas, it really depends on where is that situated. We will appreciate Minister and DG that commissioners be visible as much as they are CPTOs and line managers. But they are also expected to do an unannounced visit. When the South African National Council will get a notice that it is going to visit our institution, the wards, every corner will be spotlessly clean when the South African National Council gives a notice that is coming. But when it just pops up, sure. As a result, that made us to always be on our toes. Always be on our toes, because you don't even know when this person that you are addressing, who is coming to ask for this, how you respond to direct a person. You don't even know if it is not an inspector or an official of the South African National Council or of a department. I think we must bring back that culture right across. And as the Department of Employment and Labor, we must set up that standard. The last one is, Minister, end of February, we will call you, whether it means it must be a special portfolio committee to take us through the vacancy rate and what is it that has been done in detail. Remember, when we left, we understood, when we raised last year, we understood that you're not going to be able to give us the exact response to some of the things, but we gave you a package and we said, and you promised us, and some CPTOs did make a commitment that this will change. End of February, we don't want any manga. This department that has been given a responsibility to create a conducive environment to ensure that people are employed. Because it's not employing people, it's employing people. But it has got an added responsibility to create a conducive environment. So end of February, Minister, in our portfolio committee, even if it means we'll have to apply for a special portfolio committee meeting to come and get that. The last one, when you come back in the next quarter, then please, as you did sometime, show us which sectors are absorbing more people for jobs. I'm of the understanding that you know the employers that are calling you, they are from which sector, and which sectors are not doing right, and which sectors have regressed. as you have said. So we would like to have that on paper. Having said that, thank you very much. We will meet again. We are likely to have members. We're likely to have a special meeting on the matters that are very challenging around the issue of UIF. So but we'll have to apply to powers on this. So don't be surprised when we are called. We are having a special meeting. Whether that is still will be a physical meeting, we'll still have to apply, because I do think that we need a physical meeting on some of the issues that are quite challenging. It's just unfortunate that I couldn't see the faces, all the faces of the CDPOs. And this morning, ZP, can they open their cameras? Eastern Cape. Hello. Is she gone? Eastern Cape, I go Eastern Cape. So what is my network? No, it's fine. We are going to try and oh, what's that one now? Is that Northern Cape? All right.
It's in Mpumalanga, Chair.
Oh, okay. Who else whom I can see his or her face? Okay. No, that's fine. No, thank you very much. We are then now going to, as you will then be looking out, you are released, but members of committee are going to remain so that we deal with our housekeeping issues. Thank you very much, Minister, Deputy Minister, and DG, and your team. Bye. in the last time, we had a set of minutes that was not adopted by you. There was not, nobody moved and nobody seconded, and we then said, okay, we will we'll deal with those when we come back. So Zolani, can you flout them?
There you are, Chair. Are they visible?
Yes, they are. It's the
16
minutes of
November.
16 of November. Can we get a formal mover? Honorable Mdabe.
I suppose some Mdabe formally move for the adoption of the minutes of the 16th of November 2022.
Thank you, Honorable Mdabe. A seconder.
Sibongile Zuma, Chair. I, Sibongile Zuma, formally second Honorable Sibusiso Mdabe with the minutes of the 16th of November. Thank you. 2022.
Thank you. The last set, Zolan.
November, Chair.
Yes, those are the minutes of the 30th of November. These we didn't read. We didn't present this at the opening. Okay, 2.2. So we're about the briefing on the filling of vacant post of Dell. And then the consideration of the adoption of the draft minutes. Thank you. Honorable Mdabe.
I suppose some Mdabe formally move for the adoption of the minutes of the 30th of November 2022.
Thank you. A seconder.
I, Honorable Sibongile Zuma, formally second the draft minutes of the 13th November of 2022.
Oh, thank you very much, members. So Zolani, can you put the program?
There you are, Chair. From today, Wednesday, February.
Yes, that is the program, honorable members. You will see that on Wednesday the 8th, we don't have a sitting of our portfolio committee, and the reason being that that Wednesday it's a Wednesday before SONA. Members are traveling this and that, so we don't want to be doing rush and put members under pressure. So on the 8th, we wouldn't have any meeting. We'll allow you to prepare for SONA. Remember that we are all going to be physically in Cape Town, so that will be on the 18th, so that we know that on the 9th is the sitting of the SONA. Then it's going to be the debate. Then it will then be on Wednesday the 15th. That is then what we are putting across the first quarter report of CCMA, Network and Productivity SA. then it is replied by the president. Then on the 22nd, we are then, because we thought that it would be important for the department to come and present to us about the implications and the impact when there has been a debate and a reply by the president. So that's why that is on the 22nd. Then the same, which will then be the budget speech. And then on the 1st of March, it will then be there it is, the consideration, the adoption of the outstanding minutes, usual, and the update by the department on the vacancy rate. So it will fall on the date of March. Then we will then adopt on the 8th of March our report. And then again, then on the 10th, on the 27th to the 31st, we are aware that it is the oversight committee week. The office of the chair is still checking on what is it that we are to do. So I am humbly requesting to members, please, if you have got a concern about whatever that is being done by other committees, don't phone the staff, phone me directly, because we are putting the staff under serious pressure by asking, why is it that we are not going when other committees are going outside the country? The staff has got no mandate and no authority on that matter. A person that is to respond on that, it is Linda Tunjwa, MP, chair of this portfolio committee. So it's going to be oversight stroke committee week. In due course, we'll come back and say which oversight that we are conducting and which province we will be visiting. And then, yeah, I think it's the last mostly. Then in March 21st, it's we know that those are the activities that are going to take place. Can we then get a formal mover of the program? If there are any clarities. Any mover?
Sibusiso Mtabe, Chair, I formally move for the adoption of the program for the first term.
Thank you. Any seconder?
Chair Wolmaran, I'm formally seconding for the program of the first quarter.
Thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members. I was very ambitious that I thought you would sit for the whole day. But yeah, I think it's a reflection that we are focused and we are not all over. We know what is it that we want, and we really what we are to do. We are, I think I will again encourage members that in our constituency offices, it's really, among other things, let's check how is the department doing through the offices that are either adjacent or located within an area where our constituency offices are situated. Thank you very much. Eastern Cape is windy as usual with the with the load shedding and all the tragic things that are happening here. I don't know what is happening in our country. In Cape Town, it said there were people that were shot in which is culture in PE. There are people that were shot. There are other people that were shot in another area, which is called Soweto on Sea. I really don't understand what is taking place in our society. But as public representative, we've got a responsibility of talking to them in one way or another, either as being public representative or as being leaders in our committees, in our parties where we are. Our meeting stand adjourned until we meet again. That will be on the 15th. Prepare for SONA. We'll meet in Cape Town next week. Thank you. Don't forget that